Welcome back to Season 4 of Rookie Watch, where today Dylan Finney and the Falcons will head into the playoffs. This team was not without its problems in the regular season, but behind a Pro Bowl caliber year from the rookie strong safety, they went 10-7 and are headed to the playoffs. We take on the San Francisco 49ers. They are a 3 seed with 13 wins. They have one of the top scoring defenses in the league, the best passing defense in the league, and an offense powered by the run game. Meanwhile, the Falcons have one of the least efficient offenses in the league and one of the lowest scoring. I believe the previous panel actually shows all points, not just offensive points. I might be wrong on that, but it would explain why the total touchdowns here are so much lower than the points scored. The defense has struggled mightily as well, but they feast on the big plays, #1 in the league on sacks and takeaways. And despite facing a team that won 13 games in the regular season, they might have an opportunity for more of that today. The 49ers have arguably one of the worst quarterbacks in the league in Maxwell Wilson. No surprise that they choose to run it with CMC a lot. He's sure to be a weapon in the passing game as well. Kadarius Toney and Michael Peterson are the big names to watch at wide receiver. The offensive line is pretty good. There is a bit of a weak spot on the interior, but it shouldn't be a huge liability. We've seen the 49ers take a couple of defensive ends early in recent drafts. Jake Samuels, I think, was taken in the teens in 2029. He's only playing rotationally. Tremaine Lacey, who was the number 3 or number 4 overall, is finally starting this year. But altogether, it's really not the defensive front that we're used to with the 49ers. Instead, it's everything else, including rookie linebacker Alante Ringer. He is a superstar X factor. He's on track to become a star in this league, but he still has a ways to go to polish his game. Did put up some decent numbers this year, but nothing crazy. Not entirely sure how they're using him. Ray Greenlaw is out with an injury right now, not sure who they'll put out there instead, but they do have some decent depth. The secondary is extremely strong, 4 corners playing at or above 82, a young superstar free safety, and of course Hufanga. Before we get into the game, here is a quick look at Dylan Finney's ratings at the moment. There is still a lot of room for improvement, but with his athleticism, he's just been all over the field. I did change his superstar ability, by the way. Just felt like Reach Elite wasn't doing a whole lot for us. But let's get into the game. I'm not going to show every offensive drive, at least not this early in the playoffs, but I will show some of the more important ones. Lots of running on this drive for the Falcons until that big pass play. Don't forget the running time of this video is not a spoiler. It may or may not all be gameplay, but the Falcons do get into the end zone first. Wilson looking to throw on first down and a little late to Toney, almost picked off by Simmons. They do keep the chains moving, however. McCaffrey finds a hole and he's knocked down by Finney. Skipping ahead to 3rd and 1, almost to the red zone. Wilson fakes the handoff. He's going to throw this one up to Toney, and it's caught over AJ Terrell for a touchdown. What a play. So we're all tied up at 7 early. Let's see if the Falcons can respond as we are into the second quarter now. Looks like this drive is stalling out and the Falcons will miss a long field goal. He has hit from that range this season. He's got the leg, but the accuracy is not super consistent from Ted Lidge, at least not at that range. So great field position for the 49ers, and it's going to get better. 3rd and 6 in the red zone now, but good coverage downfield. Check down to the flat, and they're going to go for it on 4th down. Pitch play to McCaffrey, and he's corralled. Queen takes him down, so the game remains tied. Atlanta not able to take the lead back, but they do pin the 49ers back deep. And Finney knocks the ball out. He's going to land on it. Could not quite roll into the end zone, but he's going to give his team the ball inside the 1, I think. Absolutely clobbered Duke Clemens, who I think was a Jet for a little bit. Unsurprisingly, that leads to a touchdown for the Falcons. Wilson going deep now, but it's knocked away this time by Terrell. 3rd and 2 at the 2-minute warning. 49ers trying to tie it up on this drive. A lot of changing coverage today from Atlanta, but the man is good here. They'll have to settle for 3. Not much time left for Atlanta, but they're going to try and get some more points on the board here. They are into field goal range, and Super Sim's not going to show us apparently, but the field goal is good. So a 7-point lead going into halftime, and the 49ers won't respond. Wilson misses the throw, but they get the ball right back. 3rd and 8 in plus territory now. Dumped off and it's knocked into the air, but they would hit the 56-yard field goal. So 17-13 with time winding down in the 3rd quarter. Atlanta driving, but that 3rd down sack will force them to settle for 3. Atlanta's been leading pretty much all game, but has been unable to pull ahead, as this toss play to McCaffrey is blown up. But really, you can't ask for a lot more than they're doing right now as the underdog. They've got a 4th quarter lead at Levi. Play fake for Wilson. He's looking to go deep. He throws it up. Finney can't find the football, and that's caught by Tony. He's taken down, but first big mistake for the rookie today. So this is going to be a very quick scoring drive for San Francisco, and indeed, Tony gets in on the touchdown. We are all tied up at 20. And don't forget, the only time the Falcons have gotten into the end zone since the first drive of the game was when Dylan Finney gave them the ball at the 1, but it's a 23-yard touchdown for Jarius Judge. We check back in with the defense, 3:30 to go, and McCaffrey is bottled up again. Only 13 carries today and averaging 2 yards per. Now Wilson laid on the curl route, and it's picked off by Chad Simmons. He's done it again. Tied for the lead league in interceptions during the regular season. Now he's got one in the playoffs. Just forcing it on third down here. That would allow Atlanta to run out the rest of the clock. A huge upset win in the playoffs, although you had to wonder how the Maxwell Wilson experiment was going to fare in a playoff environment. He really wasn't horrible, just wasn't able to make things happen outside of that long throw to Tony. And the game-ending interception was not good. Really not a great game for Lamar Jackson either, but at least he didn't turn it over. A lot of carries for McDowell and pretty good on the efficiency. 6 total tackles for Dylan Finney, no TFLs, but of course he had the big forced fumble and he recovered it. Really hoped he would have been able to roll into the end zone there, but there's no button for rolling around on the ground. Here is the rest of the playoff bracket. Unfortunately, Chris Hargrove and the Jets go one and done. And the Chargers take down the Bengals. That's a pretty minor upset in my opinion. Arguably, the Commanders did upset the Cardinals, even though they were the higher seed. And in the divisional round, we're going to have to take on the 1 seed Lions. We played them pretty well in our game for a while and then just dropped off. Could not keep up with that offense. Finney did have a lot of tackles in that game along with an interception, but it's going to be another tough one. This team is the 1 seed for a reason. They've got one of the top quarterbacks in Trevor Lawrence, a top running back in Noah Miller, a top wide receiver in Amon-Ra St. Brown. No slouches behind him either. Everett Slate is a very good young tight end. And if you remember the game against the Lions last year with Devontae Davis, they do have an extremely good offensive line as well. I think they might have actually downgraded at left tackle, but it still looks like it might be the best in the league. Of course, they also have Aiden Hutchinson on the defense, which overall is not as strong of a unit. Parker Ingram is a pretty good middle linebacker, but the front seven has more holes than they have anywhere on the offense. This secondary is pretty good. No huge names on here, but very solid. Detroit gets the ball first at home. They're going to start with a run to Noah Miller, and he's hitting the backfield, breaks a tackle, breaks another tackle from Finney, and he'll get 3. Going to be a rough game if the tackling looks like that all day. Here's another broken tackle, but Tyler cleans it up. They won't convert on 3rd and 2, and the Falcons are putting a drive together in response into Lions territory, converting a couple of long 3rd downs, and we're all the way inside the 10. Great opening for this team, even though it's still showing the wrong Lamar Jackson portrait. We are stuttering here a little bit inside the 10, but finally into the end zone. Corey Pitts again, a 7-point lead for the Falcons. It's going to be tough to maintain that against this offense though. Lawrence a little bit behind Brown, and a great play by Simmons to break it up. 3rd and 12 now for the Lions. Lots of time for Lawrence, but he's just going to dump it off. Good pickup for Miller, but well short of a first down. A couple of punts later, 2nd and inches for the Lions. Dylan Finney fills the hole, can't take down Miller, but it's cleaned up, and that's a loss of almost 2 for the Lions, so 3rd and 2. Another run play, hole is clogged. Miller trying to cut it back, but he's taken down by Crawford. They'd punt, but barely a minute later, in terms of game time, the Lions have it again. Play action for Lawrence, and it's intercepted by Patrick Queen. I don't even know how that happened or where he came from. Lawrence just tried to dump it off. Bailey didn't feel him there and just backed up a little bit, which gave Queen the opening to make a play. Unfortunately, a net of -2 yards for the Falcons on this drive, but Ted Lidge does knock it in from 57. Now some space to work for Miller, but a great open field tackle by Finney, still going to be a gain of 7. They would convert, but now have a 2nd and 11 after a loss on first down. Lots of time for Lawrence. Nobody open, and it's finally going to run out. Doolittle takes him down for a sack. That would effectively kill the drive. Atlanta quickly into plus territory. Under 5 to go here in the first half. And Atlanta goes for it on 4th and 1, does not get it, so the scoreless Lions have a chance to make it a field goal game here. That's a good start, a big completion to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Under 3 minutes to go, but that ought to be plenty of time for this offense. Lawrence finds Ayuk, and he's going to weave his way downfield, taken down by Dylan Finney at the 35. Skipping ahead, we are inside the 15 and under 2 minutes to go. Time in the pocket for Trevor Lawrence. Throws it up to St. Brown, and he comes down with it. What a catch. Valiant effort by Chris Simmons. But it looks like they might have left too much time on the clock for the Atlanta offense. A big sack doesn't help. But with 1 second left on the clock, they hit a 56-yard field goal, another long kick for Ted Lidge, and hey, the CPU actually managed to do some time management. And don't forget, the Lions started with the ball. Atlanta puts together another scoring drive, only 3 more points, but that does make it a 2-score game, if only just. We'll see how long they can keep it up. Lawrence back to pass and plenty of time as usual. And he's got Amon-Ra deep. Cam Wooden got beat, and Dylan Finney maybe caught peeking a little too long. Could not catch up. Another third down for the Lions though. Screen pass, and it's not going to work out. So the big play only results in 3, but the Lions do get the ball right back. Handoff to Miller. He cuts outside to the left. Plenty of running room, and he's going to be chased out of bounds by Munford. That would kick off a strong drive for the Lions into the red zone now, and nearly another interception for Patrick Queen. Perfectly read. That would lead to third down for the Lions. 7 yards to go. Lots of time for Lawrence, and he's got St. Brown close to the marker, but he could not fight for it, so 4th and 1, they are going for it. And Lawrence wanted St. Brown again, but he was flanked, had other open receivers as well, just 2 dialed in on his number 1 target. So it's still a 6-point game as we enter the 4th quarter. Another nice pass breakup for Chris Simmons. When he is on, he is amazing. But Trevor lofts this one over the head of Crawford to his number 2 tight end. It's a big first down and across midfield for the Lions. Good coverage on this play as Lawrence flings it away. I think Finney covered 2 targets on that one. So 3rd and 8 at the 40, under 10 minutes to go. Lawrence finds Slate, and he's going to fight his way through Wooden for the first down. So the Lions are back in the red zone. I bet they're wishing they'd taken the field goal last time, as this is really good coverage. Time finally runs out for Lawrence. He just fires it through the uprights. 3rd down now. And I can't believe how well this coverage is playing in the red zone. Nowhere to go for Lawrence, and he's going to take a huge sack, loss of 13. So they have to take their field goal, but they have the ball back again. Not much going for this offense in this second half. Big hit for Dylan Finney trying to get a spark going. Another first down for the Lions here, and it looks like they want the deep ball. Nothing seems open, but Lawrence just flings it up, and it's almost caught by Tyler Truman. Knocked out at the last second by Terrell. Lawrence is going to try him again, and that's no good either, so 3rd and 10, 4:20 to go. And Lawrence wants the right side a 3rd time, and this time Terrell loses the ball, so he's going to waste 2 of his own great plays. That's a 30-yard pickup for Truman, the former first-round pick. Under 4 minutes to go. It's a 3-point game, and the Falcons have not scored since the opening drive of the half. Handsome run here for Noah Miller. Been a while since we've said his name. But Detroit slowing it down just outside the 5-yard line and just outside the 2-minute warning. Lawrence fires to the back of the end zone, and an incredible touchdown by Everett Slate. The Lions take the lead. It is 20-16. 3 straight incompletions, and now a huge conversion on 4th down, and another big pass to Drake London, and the Falcons are in the end zone. What just happened? The Falcons got nothing on the first 3 plays and then went 73 yards on the next 3 for a touchdown. 55 of that on consecutive plays to Drake London. Kyle Pitts finishes it off, but they've left a lot of time for the Lions. Lawrence is just backing up, and he's going to take a sack. You've got to get rid of the ball in that situation. 30 seconds to go now. The Lions have all 3 timeouts still. I don't know why they didn't use the one. They need 88 yards. Lawrence wants it all, and he's not going to get any of it. A.J. Terrell makes up for his previous play. That'll be the game-sealing interception, and the upset is complete. The Falcons are going to the NFC Championship. I think the whole country assumed it was over after the Falcons blew the lead, especially on that 4th and 10. But somehow the offense made it happen. An extremely defensive game before that drive. Lamar was 16 of 35 for under 150. Certainly uninspiring, but in the playoffs, you really just care about getting the win. It was a defensive battle for most of the game, so you have to take those stats in context. No turnovers for me is the big thing. Lots of tackles for Dylan Finney, 1 for loss. Played really good coverage as well. Obviously, we allowed some big plays as a team, but mostly that was at the catch point. Our coverage was phenomenal for most of it. Don't know why the score is wrong at the top here. But here's your updated bracket. It's going to be an NFC South matchup in the NFC Championship. It's a narrow victory over the Commanders for Tampa Bay. Both quarterbacks were excellent in this game. Jahan Dotson had 8 catches for 155 and 2 scores. Percy Stokes, playing in lieu of the injured George Pickens, has a big game as well. Meanwhile, Carson Johnson throws 5 touchdowns on only 234 yards, never threatened by the Bills. Isaac Rowe did continue playing over Kyler Murray, and he played extremely well. Unfortunately, not well enough to overcome the Chiefs, but it's a promising future for the Chargers. The Buccaneers, of course, are a team that we're very familiar with. We split the season series with them. Unfortunately, they did outlast us for the division win. As previously mentioned, they are missing George Pickens, so the second-year receiver Stokes will have some playoff opportunities. But I believe this is the best regular season performance for Tampa Bay since season 1 of this series. That was the year they were the only team to beat Chris Hargrove and the Jets. The following year, however, was their best playoff success as they reached the Super Bowl and then lost in a sloppy affair to the Broncos, ultimately losing the game due to missing something like a 26-yard field goal. So they are, of course, looking to get back to the Super Bowl, only one more team in their way. They should be slightly favored in this game, but the Falcons did just take down the Super Bowl favorites. If Atlanta can play as well in coverage as it did last week, and the offense can avoid turnovers as it's done so far in these playoffs, then it is not going to be easy for the Buccaneers. Of course, this inconsistent offense will still need to score some points, and they're off to a pretty good start here. A penalty extends the drive. The Falcons are well into field goal range, but they do seem to be slowing down a little bit. 3rd and 4 for the offense, which they're not going to get, so they'll kick a field goal and take an early 3-0 lead. You can see below, by the way, the 1-seed Texans take down the Chiefs. They are going to the Super Bowl. Tampa starts in the air. Shields rifles it into French for a 6-yard pickup on 1st down. And just a few plays later, they're across midfield. Coverage looking good here. Shields is going to scramble. Finney lines him up and misses. Was not expecting the juke, but Queen takes him down for a sack. That would lead to 3rd and 8. I don't know how big their kicker's leg is, but they're going to need to get close to that 1st down marker at least. Shields bailing on the pocket again, and he's chased down by Tyler. Lost the football. No recovery for the Falcons, but that's going to lead to a punt. It's pinned inside the 5, but the Falcons get a 1st down, and now a huge pass interference penalty it looks like. But a sack for Spellman. He extended the previous drive with a penalty. Now he effectively ends this one. So under a minute to go in the 1st quarter, and it's still a 3-0 game. Shields inside his own 10, and he can't complete it to Godwin. Broken up by Simmons once again. 3rd and 1 for Tampa, and French weaves through the defense, picking it up easily. Finney assists in tackling him, but it's a good gain. 3rd and 6 across midfield now. This time Godwin is wide open. He'll pick it up at the 30. Tampa Bay in scoring range for the first time. Shields not comfortable in the pocket today, running to the left. Fadeaway downfield, and he's got a man, and it's a touchdown. That's Markel Phelps, was in a flat, just sprinted downfield and got open. So Tampa Bay takes its first lead in the NFC Championship game. Falcons trying to respond, and Kyle Pitts helps out with a huge play on 3rd and 12. And now a 33-yard touchdown for Jarius Judge. Atlanta takes the lead back, 10-7, 5 to go. And Hernandez is unblocked. That's a sack, leading to 3rd and 14. Coverage good, nowhere for Shields to go, and he's taken down again. All the way back to the 13, that was Doolittle on the play. I kind of thought that broken play touchdown would lead to Shields feeling more comfortable, but if anything, he seems less so. Bucks did have a great punt. Unfortunately, it looks like it was ruined by maybe a roughing the passer. Atlanta stalls out, but they are going to be able to hit a long field goal. 56 yards for Ted Lynch this time. A lot of long ones in these playoffs so far. Tampa trying to answer, under 2 minutes to go. It is possible for them to take the lead here at halftime. 55 seconds to go after taking their first timeout. Shields on the moves again, throws across his body, and he's got a 1st down. I believe Phelps again, and skipping ahead, they're inside the 10, 14 seconds, no timeouts. Cannot go down in bounds here. Shields on the run once, Phelps again, and threw it straight to Basket, who could not hang on. Might have been able to run a long way. Instead, 2nd and goal. And there's a man wide open. It's Percy Stokes for the touchdown. The defense gives up the lead right before halftime. To make matters worse, the Falcons would punt the ball right away. And Tampa Bay's not wasting any time. They're going to be across midfield in a hurry, trying to extend this lead. They've got another 1st down here. Looks like a screen pass, and Simmons almost blew that up, but Godwin got away. Luckily, it didn't get far, but that should have been for a tackle for a loss. It's almost a 10-yard swing. Play action on 2nd down. The coverage is great. Pressure coming. Shields is just going to throw this one away. Unfortunately, they would convert. It's 1st and goal at the 6-yard line now. This is the backup running back Hall, and he's going to weave his way into the end zone. That's going to give him an 8-point lead, so the Falcons need to score. Unfortunately, starting to go backwards here. 3rd and long, and another huge conversion. We've seen a number of those in the playoffs. This time it's Townsend. So some offensive momentum now into Buccaneers territory. Facing another 3rd down, and they will convert. The 3rd down conversion rate in the playoffs seems to be about 20 percentage points higher than it was in the regular season. There's another one, and that's going to make it 1st and goal into the end zone. Unfortunately, no 2-point conversion, so Tampa holds onto the lead, and they quickly have a 3rd and 1. Great blocking though, plenty of space for French as he's leveled by Dylan Finney. And they've moved the ball all the way down the field. Not a lot to show, but 2nd and goal at the 1-yard line. Hall straight up the middle, and he's going to be in again. So now a 9-point lead for Tampa, 2 scores with under 10 minutes to go. Another 3rd and long converted for the Falcons. 4th and 3, and there's a penalty on the defense. I don't know if we went for it or if that was roughing the kicker. Either way, it's going to extend the drive. This Falcons offense is picking up speed, and they're going to get into the end zone once again. So once again, it's a 2-point game. About 6 minutes to go in this one. Shields firing quickly on 2nd down, and it's off the hands of Stuckey and into the hands of whoever their second tight end is. I can't remember his name, but they avoid 3rd down with that incredibly lucky play. Nice pass breakup by Patrick Queen. Under 5 minutes to go now. It's 3rd and 4 for Tampa Bay. Shields finds Stuckey, and it looks like he's going to have enough. That'll be a 1st down, and the Falcons are quickly running out of time. 3.5 to go, 3rd and 2. Shields rolls out. Looks like he's going to run for it. He's popped by Finney. The ball is out, and Wooden has it. Lots of green in front of him, but he's the slowest player in the secondary. He is going to be caught by Markel Phelps, but right into the red zone. A chance to take the lead for the Falcons. Unfortunately, nothing doing offensively. They actually lose a yard in total, but will take the lead. So 2 minutes to go, all 3 timeouts, and all the Bucks need is a field goal. Great catch by Stokes, and the Bucks don't seem to be in too much of a hurry. After a holding call, it's 1st and 20. Shields fires it back across his body into the middle of the field, skipping a play to 3rd down, 40 seconds to go. That's a conversion for French. He's gang tackled. At the 39, they hurry it up, not using a timeout yet. Under 30 seconds to go on the edge of field goal range. Shields can't find anybody, and he's sacked. Another one for Ricky Hernandez. The AI didn't use the timeout right away because it's the AI. So 7 seconds to go. No timeouts. Doesn't look like they're trying for field goal range. It's all or nothing. That one is knocked down, but there's 1 second left on the clock. I don't think they need to show the kicker at this point. Not unless he can hit from 67. So the NFC representative in the Super Bowl is all going to come down to this. Pressure in Shields' face. He flings it up. It does get to the end zone, but it's knocked down. Yes, it's incomplete. The Atlanta Falcons are going to the Super Bowl as the 6th seed. Dylan Finney got a hand on it in the end zone. I did actually try to go for the interception because, of course, I don't trust the way that the ball bounces around in this game. Pretty good game for Lamar Jackson, honestly. Shields was great as well, but ran himself into a lot of trouble. He took quite a few unnecessary sacks, particularly that one near the end. 14 tackles for Queen, 12 for Finney. Had the huge forced fumble as well. I wish he'd been the one to pick it up. Wooden only has 89 or 88 speed, and it would have really helped to get the touchdown there instead of the field goal. Meanwhile, the Texans win over 500 yards of offense in this one for them. Almost 400 of that was Johnson, 2 touchdowns and a pick apiece for the quarterbacks. Both running backs had exactly 74 yards and 2 touchdowns. Slightly more efficient day for Pierce. 7 catches for $150 and a touchdown for the tight end Jake Butler. Similar day, but 30 less yards for Damian Casey. Amani Bonds also very valuable. They're giving Player of the Week to Patrick Queen, which obviously he was good. But the forced fumble from Finney was a huge play in that game. I'd personally give it to him. And Cooper Shields gets the offensive player of the game despite losing. Honestly, can't really argue with that. Before we get to the Super Bowl, we do have to go through awards. I'm going to go through the Pro Bowl really quick. I sped this up because we've already looked at the stats, so I don't have too much to comment on, and it just takes a long time. But I do want to show it. No previous Rookie Watch players on the list, unfortunately. MVP goes to Josh Allen once again. I honestly don't know why he beat out Greg McLaughlin. Our Super Bowl opponent Carson Johnson is in 3rd. We just beat the 4th place guy. Dan Campbell wins Coach of the Year despite going 1 and done in the playoffs. Garrett Pratt does make the list. I do wish that this award was a little more nuanced than basically just record, but whatever. I guess it's not completely that as the Bucks coach is at 9. Garrett Wilson is Offensive Player of the Year in the AFC. Dean Thomas makes the list as well. Breece Hall at 5. So lots of respect for the Jets offense. Greg Rousseau is Defensive Player of the Year. Nick Bolton's 7 interceptions gets him 3rd as a linebacker. Tim Kennard, who we considered using this year, wins Offensive Rookie of the Year. I don't think his stats were all that great, but if there's not a quarterback to compete against, it doesn't always take that much. Chuck McCord of the Texans is in 2nd. We'll see him. Mike Sanford of the Chiefs is Defensive Rookie in the Year in the AFC. I honestly have no memory of who this guy is. The only ones I remember were Ryan Bush, who was a corner, and Mateo Madrano, who looked like a pretty good linebacker. Somehow the MVP didn't win Best Quarterback. Mahomes beat Allen. Hargrove does make the list. Taylor as usual, then Garrett Wilson, of course. Dean Thomas 2nd here. Jacoby Noel, who was also, I think, 10th on the Offensive Player of the Year. Devontae Davis and Eric Lamb both make the list for Best Defensive Line. Of course, Rousseau wins it. TJ Watt, of course, for linebacker, and Marcus Brownlee. Doesn't he play Ultimate and review phones on YouTube? Anyways, Evan McPherson wins Best Kicker again. Amon-Ra is Offensive Player of the Year in the NFC, beating out the receiving leader Sammy Rice. Christian McCaffrey, who I thought was criminally underused in our playoff game against them, comes in third. Nick Bosa is Defensive Player of the Year. And Dylan Finney comes in second. Patrick Queen in third. When this came up, I at first thought that he had lost Defensive Rookie of the Year because I thought there was no way that he would be up here for Defensive Player of the Year. I guess TFLs must matter for a lot more than I thought they did, at least for that calculation. Honestly, not sure who Rodney Bradley is, but Corey Pitts is fourth on the list, basically because he was our touchdown vulture. And Dylan Finney, of course, is Defensive Rookie of the Year. Jose Lawton, the top corner in this class, comes in second. The Niners X-Factor linebacker comes in seventh. And I'm looking around for dev changes. The only one I think I notice here is Lamar Jackson is down from X-Factor to Superstar, which seems totally fair. Honestly, if it had double downgraded him all the way to Star, I don't think I could have complained. These two interior offensive linemen were Superstar and Star respectively. Never really mentioned that earlier, but great find for those in the draft. Chad Simmons did get Star, and Dylan Finney is an X Factor, unsurprisingly, of course. Decided to give him the shutdown ability, and we should be about to unlock some more Superstar abilities once we use these upgrade points. Only 3 of them this time around, which isn't as many as we had with Lamb or Davis, but I certainly can't complain about it. I'm just going to dump him into zone because I think that's going to be most important for him going forward when he's not being usered by me, especially given that it's supposed to be the scheme fit. And I wound up giving him pick artist and lumberjack. Because, hey, turnovers are fun. I feel like about 75% of the time when you go to the Super Bowl, you get the hot opponent scenario, which I guess I don't really mind because I like that everybody's kind of playing up during the Super Bowl. Obviously, you have to leave it all on the field, but these ratings are going to be ridiculous for Finney in this game. Of course, it's going to be similar for everybody else on the field. Taking a look at their roster, Carson Johnson is very good. Playing up to a 90 overall, he's been really successful every year of the series. Dameon Pierce is a really annoying running back. He's just a little wrecking ball. Jacoby Noel has been extremely good. And they've got depth in Damian Casey and the rookie Chuck McCord. Very bright future for him, and he runs really well at 6'2", 230. Taking a quick peek at his stats this season, 850 yards, 4 touchdowns. Pretty darn good for a late second round pick. Jake Butler and Daniel Bellinger is a pretty good tight end duo. Offensive line is maybe the weakest unit, but it's not bad. Defensive line looks really good. Justin Kramer highlights the linebacking core. And we've seen this amazing defensive back group before: Trayvon Diggs, Derek Stingley, and Julius McGee. They've got all of them on big contracts now. Finally, Jamie Donnell and Jalen Petrie make a pretty good duo. The Falcons will get the ball first in this Super Bowl. Not really a great start with a sack here, going backwards again. And yet another really long third down that we convert 28 yards to Kyle Pitts. We're going to have another third down, but it's more reasonable. This time Jerry's Judge converts. And now another long play. Kyle Pitts again. 2 catches for 55 yards on this opening drive. Another third down, and it's Carlos Townsend in for the end zone to start off the Super Bowl. We've got some alternate jerseys going on here. Texans will start with Dameon Pierce up the middle. He'll get 3. Jumping ahead a few plays, they've got 2nd and 11. Play action for the Texans. Plenty of time back there for Johnson. He's going to lob this one deep. That's Chuck McCord, and he comes down with it. Didn't quite get deep enough right away. Didn't help that my own player ran into me. Does help that Carson Johnson just got blasted by Basket, who did lose his Superstar, by the way. So 3rd and goal, but Chuck McCord is wide open in the middle of the end zone. That's Patrick Queen's fault, not Dylan Finney's. Don't get it twisted. But it is a tie game. 7-7 as the Falcons take the field again. And I think we just need to get to 3rd down every time because that's how we pick up 20 yards. Except apparently we did it on 1st down that time. Now down to the 9, it's Kyle Pitts once again, and he's into the end zone. We're in the first quarter. He has 5 catches for 98 yards and a touchdown. We'll be Super Bowl MVP if that continues. Johnson finds Jacoby Noel there. Good start to this drive. They're across midfield, but on 3rd down now early in the 2nd quarter. Trying to tie up this Super Bowl. It's going to be a handoff to Dameon Pierce, and he is swarmed. Got about a yard, but not nearly enough. They do settle for the field goal. So if the Falcons can do something with this drive, they can take a 2-score lead. Sadly, after a good start, that doesn't look likely, and indeed, this third down conversion will not happen. Booted right into the end zone as well, a long punt. Houston on 2nd and 7 here. Johnson going to scramble out to the left. Finney chasing him. He's trying to get to the corner, and Johnson lost the football actually, but it went out of bounds. He did pick up a couple of yards though, so 3rd and 4. Pressure coming. He just gets it away. Jake Butler has it, but he's going to be well short. Good tackle by Munford. Pressure caused an offline throw. So the offense is slowing down now. We've seen this a lot from the Falcons. Probably 5 times in the regular season they scored touchdowns on their first 2 drives and then slowed down. But after a big play to Jarius Judge, they are moving the ball on the edge of field goal range now. 3rd and 4. We'll see if they can keep it going, and it's a sack. Bruce Winters gets to Lamar Jackson, and the field goal is no good. So Houston gets good field position, but it's somewhat compromised by a holding penalty. He's trying to get all back here. It's tipped into the air and caught by Finney. He caught it off his own tip. Not a lot of room here for a return, but Dylan Finney has an interception in the Super Bowl. His first interception since, I believe, week 6. That'll give Atlanta a chance to take the lead with 3:21 to go. Casey actually had his hands on it, but Finney knocked it out, and then it went off the helmet of Crawford right into Finney's hands. Unfortunately, it seems like this offense has really stalled out. They're just going backwards. It's going to be 3rd and 15. They need yards to even get into field goal range, which they will get, but it's going to be a 58-yard try, and this time Ted Lidge is able to knock it through. 17-10, but with 3 timeouts, we'll see if the Texans have time to tie it up, or at least make that gap a little smaller. Johnson with plenty of time doesn't like anything, and Finney's going to cut him down. That's actually a sack. I was trying to make the cut stick work all game for the fumble. Honestly, got me into more trouble than it did any good. And speaking of trouble, Chuck McFord converts on 3rd and 11. That would kickstart this offense, as they're now down inside the red zone. Only 1 timeout left in under 30 seconds. It's 3rd and 3. But Johnson finds Casey at the sideline. He's going to get out of bounds, so 24 seconds to go. Still passing, obviously. There's Butler underneath. He's going to be down to the 1. The Texans do call their timeout, so it's 12 seconds left. Can't get tackled in bounds, but it's not going to matter, as that's a touchdown to Damian Casey. And yes, I realized that before. It was not Casey, it was Noel. At any rate, tied at 17 going into the second half, and the Texans have the ball. A little reminiscent of the conference championship game, and here's Dameon Pierce breaking off a big run to start the second half. Play action out, and Finney flying up the middle. He's going to have himself a sack. 2nd of the game, only had 3 all season. 2 of those were very early. I think he was totally fooled by the play action and just got lucky, honestly. But a big play nonetheless. 3rd and 8, and now Finney's missing a tackle. Honestly, don't know if he could have stopped the first down from happening anyways. Texans on the edge of the red zone, and Finney tips it into the air through the hands of A.J. Terrell. That would have been huge. 3rd down, just going to check it down to Pierce, and the Falcons will get the stop. Sorry for the wardrobe change. I had to exit the game and come back in due to some technical difficulties, and I guess I didn't save the jersey selection. At any rate, Texans up 20-17. A big sack on 3rd down means the Falcons will not answer, so ball and lead for the Texans for the first time in this game. Johnson scrambling, now throwing. Finney tried to come cut him off. That let Butler get open. Honestly, the 4-yard gain might have been the better result there. Now Finney forces Pierce to move outside, and he's taken down in the backfield. So it's 2nd and 12. Defense really needs a stop with the offense struggling. Johnson throws it up, and Munford cannot knock it away from Casey. A great catch and a great throw, but you cannot let that happen. Texans all the way down to the 25 all of a sudden. Not sure what Hernandez is doing, and the game just did not want to let me line up big hits. They give him the first down there too. I thought he was a little bit short. It is going to be 3rd and 6 for the Texans, however. Atlanta desperate to keep this a 1-score game as we're about to go into the 4th quarter, and they're going to completely fail to do so. Casey was left wide open. Not sure whose fault that was, but somebody was not playing their zone. I can tell you it wasn't Finney's fault, that's all I know. But it's going to be a 10-point deficit going into the 4th quarter. No second half points yet for the Falcons, but they are getting across midfield and now into field goal range. I believe that's 3 straight first downs now and into the red zone, but they're not going to get a whole lot further. This drive stalls out. It'll be a 7-point game again, but just changing the number on the scoreboard is a big deal at this point. Another handoff to Pierce, and this time Finney will take him down. 3-yard loss on a huge play. Finney's a little bit undersized and has definitely struggled with taking down some of the stronger running backs in the league, but he manages it here. 3rd and 13 now. Casey gets open, but he's going to run out of room a little short of the first down. Texans get off a great punt, unfortunately, and this offense is really struggling. They're just going to go 3 and out. The Texans just netted 15 yards on the punts, as Noel is just too afraid of Finney and runs backwards. He's only going to end up with 2 yards on that play. That's going to lead to a 3rd down and 2, but McCord makes a really nice catch right in front of A.J. Terrell, With 6.5 minutes to go, Atlanta needs a stop of some kind. Chances are they're allowing points on this drive. Then again, perhaps not. Pierce loses some yards. 2nd and 14, he's going to get him back here, but it's 3rd and 10 after he's cut down by Finney. Does look like they'll get a field goal here at least, but Casey's corralled again, so at least no touchdown. 30-20 and under 5 to go in the Super Bowl. Finally, some urgency for this Falcons offense. And as I say that, they start running the ball, but into the end zone after the 2-minute warning, it's 30-27, 1:49 to go. The Falcons cannot allow a first down here, and Pierce is going to help him out by tripping over his own lineman. Running again on 2nd down, he's not going to get any further. So 3rd and 8, 1:40 to go, 1 timeout remaining for the Falcons. Johnson looking to pass, and he's going to be sacked. A loss of 8, last timeout taken by the Falcons. And take a deep breath because it's all going to come down to this offensive drive, and it's not off to a good start. Grant Logan takes a lot of holding penalties, but there's a huge conversion, 29 yards on 3rd and 14. But Atlanta's getting very short on time. They just kick the field goal here, and it is good from 54 for Ted Lidge. An actually decent time management decision from the CPU, and we are going to overtime, but the Texans get the ball first. Pierce on the carry, and he's going to be taken down by Finney. Looked very uncomfortable, but that's a tackle for loss, would lead to 3rd and 5. Johnson finds his tight end Butler, thanks in part to a ridiculous animation. 1st and 10 for the Texans. Up to the 42, Johnson looking to pass, not finding anything he likes, and now he's panicking. Time runs out, he's sacked. Loss of 9 on the play. Johnson loading up to go deep here, and he's got Jacoby Noah wide open. Simmons did not get deep enough in his zone, and that got him completely beat. Finney was in that middle zone, but with only shallower routes on that side, he wasn't deep enough to help. And now Simmons tips this one into the air, and it's intercepted by Andrew Crawford. He's got room to run in front of him, but he's taken down by an offensive lineman, still to the 50-yard line. A Herculean effort to prevent a touchdown, or at least a much larger gain there. But now all the Falcons need is a field goal. Not sure what this throw was. It seems like it was offline. Simmons couldn't catch it cleanly, but it went right to Crawford. And the Falcons really only need 15 yards here. There's 5. Nothing on 3rd down, though. And they attempted a 61-yard field goal and missed. Went for the win and did not get it. Now Houston has the same chance, but that's a big loss on 1st down, so 2nd and 14. Johnson throws out right. Casey's got it, fighting forward for yards. Got a few extra. It's going to be 3rd and 4. It comes down to this. The Falcons need to stop. It's going to be very hard to prevent any kind of score if they don't. It's a screen pass, not expected at all. Pierce is out of there all the way down close to the 20, and they're not wasting any time. They're just going to go for the 38-yard field goal. So this is for the Super Bowl. Snap, set, kick is right down the middle, and the Texans have won the Super Bowl. The Falcons got so close to a Cinderella run. It really was a wonderful and unexpected accomplishment to even get here, but the heroics just ran dry a little bit too early. Almost 350, 3 touchdowns for Jackson, over 400 yards and an 85% completion percentage for Johnson, 3 touchdowns as well. Did have the 2 picks. Both run games were pretty bad. Pierce was good early, but we clogged him up a lot later in the game. Kyle Pitts had probably the best first quarter in Super Bowl history, and then got 2 catches for 13 yards the rest of the way. It is inordinately frustrating that we got the ball at the 50-yard line in overtime, ran 3 plays, and that was it. It would have been better if Houston had just scored, and then the Falcons knew they had to score and were more aggressive, went for it on 4th down, whatever. I wish that just to be safe, I'd taken over and forced a punt. There was no way we were making 61. Lidge did kick a number of long field goals in the playoffs, but he did miss a few, and he certainly never hit from 60+. Finney had an outstanding game, 11 total tackles, 2 for loss, 2 sacks, an interception, and a forced fumble, although it went out of bounds, with a win that's borderline Super Bowl MVP. Instead, it goes to Carson Johnson. Despite the 2 picks, I don't really know who else it would go to. So congratulations to the Texans for their first ever Super Bowl championship. Strangely, Damian Casey is the offensive player of the week. I guess that calculation is different. Probably means there was no chance of Finney getting Super Bowl MVP anyway. And of course, in real life, that's usually even more quarterback heavy than it is in Madden. It was an outstanding playoff campaign for Dylan Finney, though. Got better every single week. In terms of the stat sheet, at least, best game of the whole season in the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. This team was at its best during the playoffs. We had some pretty incredible close games, and I can't complain too much. Here are the final ratings for Dylan Finney at the end of his rookie season, really close to another upgrade as well. But this is where he'll be going into Season 5 of the series as a CPU-controlled player, already the number 2 strong safety in the league by overall. This was a really fun and fresh position to play, so thank you for watching, and I'll be back with a new season soon. I've already got some of the next episode recorded, and I promise you it's going to be fun. It will also be fresh. Until then, thanks for watching, leave a like and subscribe. I'm Nose, see you next time.